Hey, everybody, it's Tim Gillette, and we're back here with another Tim Gillette show. Hey, man, I've got a great guest for you guys today. This guy, he was supposed to be on a couple weeks ago, but some stuff came up, and he said, man, I got to rearrange it because I got to get on your show. And I'm so glad he did, because this is somebody that I've wanted to connect to for a while, get a recording of it, and get to know him live on camera. And that's the coolest part about this show. So today's guest, Steven, all right, he's got minimalistmarketing.biz, and I'm sure he's going to tell us about that, as well as we'll get to know him live on camera. Here we go, guys. Let's see. Mr. Steven, how are you?
Hey, Tim, I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So, man, it took a bit for us to get you and I together, huh?
It did. I apologize. I actually had a concussion, which made me have to reschedule.
Oh, so basically, all right, your marketing expert said, let me smack you upside the head because I don't want you to get too much publicity being on Tim's show.
Yes, pretty much. And my marketing expert was about 13 years old.
Isn't it funny how much them 13-year-olds know more about marketing than you and I do sometimes?
These dang kids these days.
I am shocked, though, all right, at how often I can ask one of my kids or something like that about something on the computer, and they know it. I don't. I'm like, God. When I was your age, I knew how to play dirt in the sand, man, with a truck.
Oh my gosh, I called I called one of my boys' girlfriends the other day. I was like, hey, I text her. I was like, I don't know why I'm asking you this, but I'm at that age where I need to ask you how to do something on the computer, and I work on the computer all day. She just started laughing. She's like, I love you.
It's those cute things about the kids that we'll miss someday. So, or they're going to miss about us someday too, because they're going to be like, well, I miss my dad because he was this cranky old bastard, always asked me the dumbest questions at the right time.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, well, speaking of which, all right, how did you get into the marketing game? And I know you got kind of a different niche, a different twist on things than I do. How did you get into this game, man?
That is a crazy story, but I'm glad you asked. So I was doing social media management for a little bit for a couple of clients and some copywriting things, and I was really trying to break into the coaching niche of being a life coach. And I was at a meetup one night talking to a gentleman, and we're talking about it. And he's like, so how many clients do you have? I'm like, well, I have 0, but that's not the point. It's like, and he's like, so how do you make your money? And I said, well, I do copywriting, a little bit of ghost writing right now, but mainly social media management. And he asked me who I did it for, and I, and what I did. And I said, well, basically I do LinkedIn and Facebook for a gentleman. And he was like, you do it for him? I was like, yes. He's like, so everything that he puts out is you? And I said, for the last year and a half, yeah, that's basically how I've been doing it. And he was like, bro, you should be doing that. And I was like, yeah, it's something I love doing. I love writing. He takes me and grabs me by the shoulders, like, bro, this is what you need to be doing. So I went home and thought about it. And the next day I was at a conference, like a business breakfast conference. And the speaker was talking about passions and purpose and he was coming from the angle of God, saying how, like, God gives us this passion, this purpose. And if we're not doing it the right way, he might take it from us for a little bit. He'll always bring it around to a different angle. And it might be a different angle, but he'll always bring it back around. And then the next day I was talking to one of my clients, and who I was just at that time was doing a couple articles a month for. And she said, hey, I need my book edited. How much would you charge for me to do the book? And I gave her the price, and she scratches her head. She says, that's like just a few $100s off of if I hired you to be my full-time copywriter. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. And she was like, why don't I just hire you to be my full-time copywriter? And that was 2 years ago. That's how I basically got into doing that. And then over the last year and a half, I've really kind of honed down to where my niche is, which is article writing, blog writing, and ghost writing / editing nonfiction books.
So, I mean, that's kind of what my daughter's kind of, she doesn't do like the copywriting, but she's doing a lot of like ghost writing for people. And that's where she found her niche. You know what I mean? And it's interesting that some people would rather do the writing and some people would rather create their own programs and stuff. And it's always interesting how we find what we like or what we're good at, you know? Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, you know what I mean? Did you actually then put on hold trying to be the life coach then, huh?
I did. So when I came on as the full-time copywriter for my client, for one of my clients that I have, she was essentially doing everything that I wanted to do as a life coach. The angle that I was taking with she was a business coach, and it was talking about creating legacy, which was how I wanted to do it. What I found over the course of a couple of months is she gave me carte blanche to we would come up and say, okay, here's the theme for the month, or here's the idea that we want to go with this quarter. Here's the amount of articles that we want to write. Here's where we want to put them at. Write them. And so I have been able to essentially, make my life coaching through her life coaching or through her business coaching, and because our principles align so well. And it was kind of cool because I was talking to another colleague and talking to her about what I do, and she was like, "Wait a minute, so you write the articles, she gets her name on there, and you get no credit for it." And I was like, "Yeah, basically, that's basically ghostwriting and copywriting."
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't understand why someone would do that. And I said, and I was talking when I was talking to her, I said, hey, you used to work in Hollywood, so I kind of, what's the one thing that every single person at some point in their life wants to be? It's either a musician or an actor, right? Like that, you have that dream at some point. And I said,
Yeah.
I kind of look at it, copywriting, ghostwriting as acting. I get to play a part. I get to learn about a part. I get to, you talk about some of the best actors and actresses out there, character actresses, and they talk about really researching and getting in for the role. And that's how I approach my ghostwriting, my copywriting, is really getting in and becoming my client. And so it's really cool for me because I get to like live vicariously as an actor through this work that I'm doing, and I get to work my passion, which is writing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and you've been doing it for how many years now?
Feels like forever. I think really I've been doing it since about 2013.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe 2011.
Okay. So you're about 10 years into it. So which, I'm only 12 years into what I'm doing. I've been only doing this 12 years, but that's a long time in a career in what we do now, because there's kids coming into this who have got a year and a half into it or are blowing the doors off it. And I'm like, whoa, I wish I could have done that when I was 2 years in, but
Yep.
what is one of the things that before you got into this line of work that like kind of led you here? What previous careers did you have, and were you burnt out on them, things like that?
I think I'm on my 5th career, and which is kind of funny. So I started off when I got out of high school. I went to college for a semester, and I hated it. I was like, this is like high school with smoke breaks. And so I joined the Navy and spent 10 years in the military as a hospital foreman, and loved every minute of that. Got out, and then all of my friends were having these nervous breakdowns when they hit 30, and I was bound and determined that when I hit 30, I was not going to have a nervous breakdown, and I didn't. I waited till I was 33, and my nervous breakdown, and so that kind of we have a saying in the medical field that EMTs and paramedics and doctors kind of walk on water. It's kind of this ego thing, and I used to say I invented the water that I walked on. That was how high my ego was, and so, but I never saw it because I was walking with people who were giving me the ingredients to make the water, and so that process, that whole year of my life when I was 33 really took me out. I came back in, and shifted careers into sales. I was still doing medical sales, so I was still kind of in the field. And then part of my success in the medical field was traveling around, speaking at conferences, creating curriculum, writing curriculum. So honestly, I've been writing for probably close to 25 years now. But I got an opportunity to go work for FedEx when they were acquiring Kinko's. And when I was sitting down and was looking at doing some training and organizational development for them, the lady at the time, she said, "Why are you changing careers?" And I said, "I'm not changing careers. I'm changing venues." And she kind of looked at me, and she was like, "I don't understand." And I said, "Well, you want to hire me to do customer service." I said, as a paramedic, that's what I'm doing, is customer service. I said, "It just looks different."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, as a paramedic, I have 30 seconds to make a judgment call on somebody, whether So you kind of learn the psychology of people when you're in that field.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, and that works really well in the retail business. Works really well in any business, because when you meet a customer, potential customer or client, you need to make a judgment call on how they're coming at you, and which, if you can teach people how to read others, that's a great skill to have. And so I got the job. And so I did that for a few years, and then when the economy crashed, I kind of started doing some freelance copywriting. Ended up back in school, which is where I really cut my teeth on editing, because I don't know if my wife's watching this or not, but when we were in grad school, we'd have to write these 12, 15, 20 page papers, and she'd give me like a fourth of it, and she's like, "Here, edit it for me." And so I would make it to the page, and so that was kind of where I really learned how to edit and how to write well in those 3 years. We had a lot of fun doing it, and so coming off of there, I was like, and at that time we were having our 5th child, and so I really was trying to find a way to stay home, and so that kind of led me through a couple of different paths, but ending up just full-time jumping into doing marketing, and now again just kind of niching it down to blogs and articles and books.
Well, I mean, and then, like, I got into blogging because I didn't know what to do. I was going to be the same thing. I was going to be a coach, didn't know what to do. And, I stumbled upon a site to create a blog. And all I knew was I had 6 years earlier, I had Zig Ziglar say, "Tim, you should be a speaker and a coach." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay. What's that mean?" I didn't know. I really didn't. So I stumbled into blogging like that. And I'm shocked when people say, "Tim, you're a great writer." And I'm like, "No, I still think my English teacher is turning over in his grave the fact that people are reading what I write." Yeah. What was your English like and stuff in high school?
I got lower B's.
Okay.
I never really enjoyed English until, so as a musician, I think I was a sophomore or junior year. I took a British literature class, and
Oh, wow.
like the first or second week of class, we were sitting there one day, and I was just thumbing through all these poetry and stuff from England, and I stumbled across this poem, which is entitled Jerusalem. And as I'm reading through the words, I was like, this looks very vaguely familiar, and it hit me about halfway through. I'm like, wait a minute, this is an Emerson, Lake and Palmer song. And I was like, wait. And so things just started to mesh, and I realized how music lyrics, a lot of them are written, and it's very poetic. And I knew that, but there was this like connection that drew me into appreciating words more. And that's been something over the years that I've really enjoyed honing in and growing is how to write
Yeah.
about it.
It's interesting you say that, because like when you first said, I mean, I'm blown away with that. First of all, you took British English. But then I'm thinking, when you're sitting there thinking like it's a song, I'm starting to think there was an Inagata-Davida moment for musician people who don't know that story. Yeah. But it's like you stumble upon something really great and you just happen to be in the right place, to stumble upon it. Interesting. Very interesting. That was a mind blower there. Did you ever think about using some of your English to write music, or was it just words that you liked writing for books and stuff?
I have used some lyrics that kind of inspire me. I've actually some of my I'm a very big into the progressive rock. I'm a drummer, so it's funny. I don't call myself a musician. I call myself a drummer. There's a difference because I can't read music, and so but I have and many times used different song titles or lyrics inside of songs as inspiration to write articles. In fact, I had one of the articles I wrote a few months ago for one of my clients. We were talking about communication, and I just happened to be listening to Yes, one of their later albums, and there's a song off of their Big Generator album called "Shoot High, Aim Low," and I was like, and I was listening to it, and it's about the music industry, but it also talks a little bit about communication abstractly, and so I use that as the title to write this communication article. So I do use it a lot. I do reference it a lot, and actually when I write, I write better with music. I was joking because when I was in seminary in Bible college, I wrote my best papers at 2 a.m. listening to Pink Floyd about theology.
Okay, that's just funny right there, But no, I get it, because some of my greatest, my best blog post ever was me telling the story about how the song "Jukebox Hero" from Foreigner inspired me. That literally, it was an inspirational song that I carried the inspiration inside of me for years. And one day I'm going to share this, why this inspires me. And literally, I don't know whether it's, the spirits or, whether I put my passion out there that just attracted the right people. It was like, I went 35 people one day, 7,700 the next day. I'm like, there's no measure on how that happened, right? Like, other than I wrote something that mattered to me. Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's the cool thing about writing is when we write with something that inspires us, it comes from a more authentic place than just putting something out there to have something out there. And so for me, and I feel like that for you too. Like there's, music does that. It just draws us to a place of inspiration and for me, it's clear thinking.
Yes,
it's being more authentic on what words go on the paper.
Yeah. So like my coach, his go-to song for writing is "What's Up" from Four Non Blondes. Mine is "Renegade" from Styx. Right? Do you have a song that you're like a go-to? Let me put this one in and will motivate me to write.
It kind of shifts. For a while, I would put on the Essential playlist from Alan Parsons Project.
Oh wow!
And that just kept me going. Currently now, it's the Blue Oyster Cult's "Revolution by Night" album. I don't know what it is, but it's
well, that's it.
There's something about lyrics that were written in the 70s and 80s just have so much more depth, and I think it just infuses my brain and helps me to create more depth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is. It's there is so much more motivation from the 70s and 80s. Like I can listen to an Eagles song and I'm like, that's freaking lyrics. as opposed to a Beyonce song that's like 90% of the song is ooh, ooh ah, ah. You know, right. But it's interesting, like, you know, you got quite a bit of variation though that motivates you and does that. And that's neat, you know, that, you know what I mean? We all get motivated by different things, and it's yours is just, wow. It's just, it's out there. Yeah. Cool. But
Well, I
hey,
appreciate it. I taught myself. I taught myself how to play drums to Kansas's "Carry On My Wayward Son" and the Police's "Bombs Away."
Okay. Wow.
So,
I learned how to play drums I still play on this is my drums on my desk. You know, I have 2 guitars and I don't know how to play either one of them. Yeah. I suck at it. I like it. I keep every now and then I pick the guitar up, plug it into the amp and try it. Yeah. But I keep them because I'm motivated by the fact that I read that Eddie Van Halen, the greatest guitarist of all time, could not read music. So if he can do it, not reading music, you and I can do all kinds of things listening to music. Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's kind of how I go. It's that is the motivational factor right there. If I don't have music on, and sometimes if I get stuck or get writer's block, I'm realizing that it's most likely because I don't have music playing in the background.
Wow. Have you ever gotten to the point where, like, when you're creating content for somebody else, you can't read somebody else's content? Like, if you're writing a book for somebody, ghostwriting, you couldn't read my book because it might influence you. You ever have that problem happen?
Not really. That if I feel like I'm kind of going off track, I'll take a break and walk away. And luckily, you know, as I've been working with books, you know, usually we're writing chapters at a time, so it's not let me write the whole thing and give it to you. It's let's write this chapter, work on it, and, you know, and so I feel like when I'm working, I'm so integrated in the process with my clients that we kind of just become one. And I really, you know, again, my goal when I work with somebody is to essentially become them. And so even if I'm bringing my inspiration and my thoughts into it, it's filtered through how they would present it.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because, like, I've known a couple other ghostwriters. I know a ghostwriting company that was here in Dallas for a long time, and they had quite an interesting way they did it with interviewing people. Like, every chapter they would interview you, and then the ghostwriter would write it. And then I know that there's another friend of mine down in Austin named Jonathan. Jonathan goes and he's written like stars books, like, you know, music stars type books. He goes to their house and he literally spends weeks at their house writing their book by hanging out with them, talking to them, and then writing the book. And yeah, it's also, he's getting their vibe and letting their vibe get in his head to write it. So it's everybody's got a different process, I'm sure. So I can't write for other people. I couldn't write your blog post to save my life. I can write mine, but not yours. I don't know why. Yeah.
Well, I can write yours.
Yeah, that's the good thing. You see, you have a different talent than I have. Yeah. I only speak one language. That's Tim. It's not even English or British English. It's Tim English. Yeah. So.
English.
Yeah. That's about it. So, well, what are some things that you're thinking about taking your company to do in the next year? All right. In the next few years, all right, with the way the world has changed and now everybody's working differently, what are you going to do now to make some changes in your industry?
That I feel like that's a loaded question, but it's a good.
Yeah, I always ask loaded questions. Yeah,
this is always a loaded question.
Yeah,
that's when I shifted my business name over to minimalist marketing, it's really a reflection of my lifestyle. You know, I have my wife I have seven kids. We live in a 36-foot travel trailer we have for the last 4 years. So we really have kind of this minimalism lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that that you hear constantly with people on their deathbed is nobody ever says, I wish I worked more hours in the week. I wish I made more money. It's always, I wish I spent more time with my family. And I have my wife. She's really good at challenging me to spend more time with the family. When we had 3 kids, I was working corporate jobs, 80+ hour weeks. I was home, but I was never really present. And so I have really begun to strive this last year right before COVID hit, to streamline my business to where I'm really able to work when I want to, and we have and we live within our means. We have zero debt, and so it's if the economy went complete crap, I can be self-sustainable, for a while, and and so my business wise, my ultimate passion and desire is to create, from a financial standpoint, hit a 6-figure business that's sustainable at 6 figures. For many reasons. But at the same time, I enjoy what I do so much now that I like to keep 2 or 3, maybe 4 full-time clients, and then I like having other clients for 3 to 4 months at a time. That's when I do books. I like that because I usually do a 90 or 180-day contract with somebody to write the book, so we can get it when it's done, so we're not dragging it out. I think that's the biggest struggle when people write books, is they drag it out. And so if we create that timeline to where we're going to have this done in 90 days, I like those shorter term contracts. So that's my business model is, again, 3-4 full-timers, and then just that continual organic, and it's been so, I've been blessed to have organic reach. Just kind of, I have people call me up and say, hey, I was referred to you. This is what I need. And I'm like, hey, great, let's do it for 3 months. And they're like, sweet. And so that's kind of a vague growth pattern, to answer that.
Well, it is a very big, you got very, very, good goals behind it. And the fact that I want to keep my life living minimalist, but I want to be able to raise to where the business is coming in far above what I need. And I love that. All right. So many people out there, they're building their business because they want to buy a Ferrari. I've driven a Ferrari. It's no big deal, guys. It's just another car. Yeah. So, yeah. We've lived in condo life for the past 8 years. Everybody keeps saying as much money as what you guys do. Why don't you have a house? I haven't been frustrated enough with condo life to buy a house yet. When I get frustrated enough and it's coming, I'm going to just go buy a house. I don't care. All right. But that's it. We can pick our lifestyle. And that's the difference between us and the guy who's got to go, okay, do I got to get the shot to keep my job? Right now, that's the plus to where our lifestyle is. And it's great to be there. So I'm glad you guys are there. So,
I will say, it's still a struggle because you're always facing, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And so I have to be very, very meticulous, or, take my vetting process to another level if I want to have a coach, or if I want to, invest in somebody else, or listen to how they're teaching me, because I think everybody has really great principles, but it's the execution, and really at the end of the day, I have to be very clear on what my vision is and what my motivation is, because then that's going to drive how I'm going to grow my business. And I feel like as I'm driving that with more authenticity, the business will grow at a pace and a rate where I'm able to do it, versus if I had a phone call tomorrow and said, we want to hire you for, $100,000 and you need to do this, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
And I love having the ability to say no. That's I think for me is like the success of my business is the ability to say no and not have to scrape everything that comes your way.
That's beautiful. I mean, because I can tell you how many years I had to keep going. I had to take yeses and basically take shit jobs because that's what I had to do to keep food on the table, And now it's like I finally got to that place where I can work less hours and still get the money I need. You know what I mean? And it takes time to build that. So
Yep.
yeah. So
my biggest we were this it's been a while now. It's probably been 7 years, but there was a point where I wasn't making enough, and I actually Sunday morning I dragged myself out of bed, my lower humbled head, and I walked down to the local intersection and took a job selling Sunday papers on the street corners, which it's the craziest thing, but I learned so much about not just myself in those 4 hours. I had to do it one week because I got client that following week, and but I learned so much not just about myself but about how people perceive others, which I think has been beneficial for me in writing, because as I'm writing for my clients and know what their audience is, then I have a better perspective of how to position what I'm presenting.
Cool. So, well, Steven, I want to make sure everybody can get a hold of you. What is the best website that they can reach out to you and connect with you to take this relationship to another level?
It is, if they go to minimalistmarketing.biz, there we go. Yes, it's not a .com, it's a .biz.
.biz.
And,
so
that's probably the easiest. You sign up there. I love sending out. I have a free 10 tips for copywriting that I give people for connecting with me. And then also I wrote a quote book. So most of the quotes are just from somebody else, but just kind of a fun, inspirational little quote book, because I find, like, when we write content, everybody, and it's still apropos, is to throw in some kind of quote from somebody else to kind of help drive your point home. And so I love just handing out. It's a small little ebook, and so everybody gets a copy of that too.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, but before you go, I do have this little game I like to play called This or That, and I have 9 questions. I have 7 envelopes for you to pick 3 of them, and we're going to pull the questions out to ask you. Numbers 1 through 7, pick 3.
I will do 1, 5, and 6.
1, 5, 6. Put all them over there. And let's start with number 1 and see what the questions we get to ask Steven is.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. Question number 1. The legendary question people have always gotten on my show is, toilet paper, does it go over on the roll or under at your house?
Beards are always better than mullets.
I hear that too often, Yeah.
Yep.
How about if you're going for a drink, a bottle of beer or a glass of wine?
Oh, yes. Do I have to answer, because it's sometimes it's both, but do I have to give one specific answer? I would say, if I have to give a specific answer, I'll say beer.
Okay, you just froze on me, and you're not allowed to freeze. You froze on me as you're answering the question.
Am I back now?
You're back now. There you are. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the answer was a beer.
Okay, beer. All right. The third one in this questionnaire is Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Ooh, he's a Batman fanatic. All right. Michael Keaton or Val Kilmer? Which one?
I got to go with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I still think he was the best Batman. So,
Yep.
envelope number 2, which is envelope number 5 for you. The number 1 question is, who was the better lead singer of Van Halen, David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar?
Gary Sharon.
Oh,
I got.
it was nice having you on the show.
I got to go with David Lee Roth because Panama is actually one of my top 10 all-time favorite songs.
Yeah. I'm a big Roth fan, but oh my God, they had more hits with Sammy Hagar, and like some of the stuff Sammy did, I loved. So it's kind of, but I love David Lee Roth more. I don't know why. So
yeah.
Next one, when you're going out to get a cup of coffee, is it Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks?
Between those two, Starbucks.
All right, I thought so. If question number 3, which do you like more, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. I figured you for a Star Wars guy. I don't know why. I just did. Yeah.
You know what it was my dad was a huge Star Trek fan. We went to see the Wrath of Khan in the movie theater. I think I was 8 years old, and when that scorpion came on inside Susan's helmet, I was done.
Interesting. So, all right. Envelope number 6. Question number 1. Oh gosh, I love it. Boxers or briefs?
It's my favorite Tom Petty song, "Free Ballin'."
Nothing like taking minimalist to the true fashion, huh?
You know, I knew it would come in at some point.
Yeah. Oh man. My next one is Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Mm.
Primarily because they make Mountain Dew, and
yeah, it's usually another product. Yeah.
Yeah. And for the record, because people will complain about Mountain Dew, the first ingredient in Mountain Dew, true Mountain Dew, is orange juice. Just saying, it's good for our bodies.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And the last one we have today, I think we're going to kind of answer this one because of your lifestyle, is hotel or camping?
Camping.
Considering where you live, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you got me all riled up. I'm coughing. I'm laughing so hard. Well, Steven, one more time, tell them the website so they can get a hold of you and connect with you and take this relationship to the next level.
Minimalistmarketing.biz.
Okay.
The easiest way.
Cool. Well, I thank you for taking time out of your schedule, coming by and sharing with my audience today. I really appreciate you doing that for me.
I appreciate the opportunity to come on.
Cool. So to you guys, the guests, our visitors, all right, I want to tell you thank you for coming in today. All right, go check out Steven at minimalistmarketing.biz, and we will see you next time with another great guest. In the meantime, guys, have a great day. Bye now.